Welcome to Dare a New Belief, a place to discover what is possible for your life after the loss of a loved one, and where you will find inspiration, insight, support, and love, and hopefully a bit of laughter to help you through your day. Now, here's your host, Nada Hogan.
Welcome to Dare a New Belief, where you will find light in life, love and joy, healing, faith, and hope. A place where you get to believe in what is possible for your life. In today's episode, I have the great honor to bring Joanne King back with me again so we can finish up our conversation that we started last week. And just a reminder of who Joanne is. Joanne lives on the island of Maui. She has a master's of arts degree in counseling psychology, and she works as a counselor in psychology. She focuses on health and wellness and has a foundational and advanced training in mindfulness. Joanne also has a wonderful program that she has developed that is called Ditch the Diet for Life, which is a mindful eating program. So we're going to talk about that also. But right now, welcome, Joanne. Thank you so much for coming back on the show again.
Oh, my pleasure, Nada. I'm so happy to be here talking with you. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, for me too. I love it. So thank you. Thank you. So, Joanne, when we were finishing up last week, we were talking about, you were giving examples on challenging your beliefs, and you were saying to take those beliefs and put them in a suitcase. Imagine those beliefs and put them in a suitcase, those that don't serve you anymore, and give those back to the people that gave it to you. Thank you very much. They no longer serve you. The question that I have for you is, how does that work around your mindful eating program? How does that, how do you get that to tie together?
So our beliefs are what construct our reality, right? Because so you have a belief, and then what happens is it actually comes into reality. You create that by, and I think the example I used last week was about how one of my clients had the belief that when women get older, they gain weight and then they lose their teeth. And so neither of those are true. First of all, if you brush and floss your teeth and see your dentist regularly, you're not going to lose your teeth. You can go all the way until you pass on with all of your teeth. So that's an important concept to know. And then as far as weight gain, if you take care of yourself and you move every day and you eat foods that you believe are healthy, you will not gain weight.
Right. Yes. Yes. And how do you tie together, or not tie together, how would you differentiate? Because your program on Ditch the Diet for Life, you call that mindful eating. And I'm wondering, how do you distinguish mindset from mindful?
So mindset has to do with your beliefs, right? And mindful eating is about awareness in the present moment of what you're eating using your five senses, right? Your sense of smell, your sight, your taste, your texture, and even hearing. So when you can mindfully eat using all of your senses and being present in the moment, most of the time you may not eat as much as you would because you are so present.
Right. And I love how you can tie these together with mindset being the beliefs. And if I believe it's not, if I've had that belief and I no longer now have that belief because I've worked with you, and I know that it's not true that I'm going to gain weight when I hit my 50s and 60s, or I'm going to lose my teeth, but that's not me that had that belief. I'm using that as an example. I have other weird beliefs.
Right.
That's not one of them. but
Right.
when we can shift that belief, and so then when you do sit down to have a meal and you're mindful and present at that time, how powerful that is, because the food then nourishes you. It's no longer this enemy, because I mean, it feels like that at times if I am eating something that I think it's okay to treat ourselves. We just can't treat ourselves at every single meal, but I think it's okay to have that chocolate or to have that ice cream or to have that thing. But if my belief is in alignment with what is empowering for me, and when I sit down to have that meal and I'm present, I'm mindful with that meal, how powerful that is for the cells inside of my body to know that they are receiving nourishment, that it's not just this meal that I'm shoving in because I'm starving and I have to eat dinner. It's a whole, it's a feeling. What's the word I'm looking for? It's different. You're just in a completely different state. You're physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually in a different state when you sit down to eat like that. That energy is so powerful.
Yes, yes, it is. And it centers around beliefs. And so I want you to think about friends that you might have that you go out to lunch or dinner with, and they eat everything in sight and they're thin as a rail.
Right.
How could that be? How can that be? It's because of their beliefs. It goes back to what they truly believe. And so when I talk about beliefs like this, it has to be beliefs you really believe on a very deep level. And I like to use the example of the belief that you are a woman, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And you know that think about how deep a level you believe that. Is that correct?
Yes, completely, 100%. To my core, I believe that.
Right. And so when you have a belief, that's how you need your beliefs to be. You need to believe them on that deep level. Like, I can eat anything and I will not gain weight. Now, if you have any kind of trepidation in that, then that's a problem, right? So you have to really believe it. And the first part of this is really accepting yourself where you are. And so even if your body isn't exactly how you want it, when you accept yourself as you are, that's when you can begin to change. But you have to accept yourself where you are. You can't be fighting your body. Your body has an innate intelligence. Like you said, we have 70 trillion cells in our body, and each cell has what I call an innate intelligence. It has a nucleus, it has a brain, and it can hear you, not hear like perhaps we think of hearing, but it is connected to your brain, and it can hear the things that you're thinking, the things that you're saying in your mind.
Right.
So it's all about going back to mindset again, changing those core beliefs. And sometimes what really helps clients is being able to visualizing and believing, I can get to this body that I want. I can get to this healthy body. And then it's about changing how you eat, what you eat, when you eat, how much you eat. All of this comes into play in the program.
Right. And the visualizing has been tested, scientifically tested and proven that when somebody is visualizing something, whether it's how their body looks, how they're eating, how they feel about life, if they're an athlete, how they're performing. And when they are visualizing, the body doesn't know if that is actually happening or if you are just perceiving it. So I want the listeners to know how important that is, that when we visualize, we're using this imagination. It's one of your intellectual faculties that we have. It's invisible. There's not a place in the brain that you can go to and say, well, I'm going to take out my imagination, or I'm going to take out my visualizing factor. We can't do that. But science knows that these 70 trillion cells inside of us have no idea, is this actually happening, Or is she just perceiving that the body takes it on as absolute truth? So that visualization is so powerful. It's
Yeah.
enormously powerful.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up because that is so true. And they're learning so much, and the science is just so progressing so rapidly, right? And so I believe that the only way to succeed at having your ideal weight is to have the ideal mindset. So we go back again to the mindset and the beliefs and changing those core beliefs to fit with what you want in your life. This is about you and your core beliefs.
Right. And this is why your program is so powerful, the Ditch the Diet for Life, because it's not a diet. It's not eat this, don't eat that. It is the mindfulness and it's the mindset. And that is what makes it so powerful. I believe I went through your course. It's a powerful course. It's beautiful. And and it works. That's the best part because it can be the best course in the entire world, but I didn't get any results. Absolutely got results. Love it. So I find it how I think this is the first program that I've ever seen that has anything to do with dieting or weight loss, body image that really incorporates the core values of mindset and mindfulness. Can you tell me how that plays into your whole program? Those two factors, mindset and mindfulness.
So it's all about, again, your core beliefs. What do you believe? And then becoming present and being here and being now. But it's also about, too, it's about learning why people overeat. So it's not just mindset and mindfulness. I mean, that's a huge component of the program. But we also have to look at, why do people overeat? A lot of times people have anxiety. And so it's anxiety that causes overeating. Overeating is actually an emotional act,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
But and then there's different types of overeaters. We have emotional overeaters. We have angry overeaters, destructive overeaters, habitual overeaters, ignorant overeaters, and addictive overeaters. So in the program, we actually help people to understand how to change those types of habits by choosing a better way that works for them. Because again, it's all about the person. This is not a one size fits all diet. Like, it's not eat this, this, and this, and this, or eat like me. No, everyone is different. And I encourage people to eat the food they love, but they have to change their beliefs. So if they want a Krispy Kreme donut, I want you to enjoy every single bite. Don't consider the calories. Just consider how much you love it and enjoy it. And your body will process it properly. That's the innate intelligence of the body.
Absolutely. And in your program, people have to be discovering their own personal empowerment in all of the other aspects of their life, not just around their nutrition and their body image and just eating, but this has to flow into how they show up in life, how they show up at work, how they show up in a conversation, maybe a conversation that I don't want to call it a conflict, but maybe a disagreement, how they show up when somebody has been maybe rude to them. It has to overflow into every other aspect of their life. It's not just the food. And that is what I love about your program, because it encompasses everything about the person. It's full spectrum.
It is. And it's all about you. There's nothing that happens to you is about anybody else. It's about you and your interpretation of what's happening. So again, that goes back to what we call the thought model, right?
Yeah.
So you have an event that occurs in your life, and then you have a thought around that event. So it's the thought around the event that actually creates your result. It's not the event. So let's just say your boyfriend broke up with you and you're devastated, right? And your thoughts are, I'm not worthy. I'm no good. No one will ever love me, right? And some of those could be core beliefs that come from childhood, right? Especially if you grew up in a family that, had issues and trauma. So those are pretty accurate thoughts for people that have experienced that trauma and dysfunction in their life. So it's important to be able to change those thoughts. So the boyfriend broke up with me. Perhaps you could think, this wasn't the right relationship for me. The right one is going to come along. Someone who meets me where I am and is at the same level as me, and we can support each other and be successful. So when you have that kind of a thinking around my boyfriend broke up with me, you're going to be a happier person. You're going to start to go out and do things that fulfill you. And that's how you'll meet somebody new versus I'm worthless. I'm no good. I sit in front of the TV and eat a pint of ice cream and a bag of chips, and I gain weight and I spiral down. So this is how we're able to help you change and to become more positive and to have success in your life.
Right. Beautiful. I love how, because everything comes back to the mind. Everything comes back to the mind, and how am I thinking about this event? What kind of meaning am I giving it? How can I look at this differently? How can this be more empowering for me? And I find that just to be so beautiful. One of the things you did in your program is where you had a raspberry, and and you just have this relationship with the raspberry before you ever eat it, which is, I believe, totally just practicing that mindful eating, that you're, look, instead of just popping, which I do tend to do, blueberries or raspberries, right? Just grab a handful and pop them in. But when you take that moment and you look at it and just really look at what it is, and it's like it, it puts you in a completely different energetic state, because you are, well, for one, you're present, you're mindful of what it is that you're eating, but there's this appreciation that, I know for myself, and I guess I can only speak for myself, that there's just times that I'm very much not mindful in what I'm eating. It's just like I have to eat this because I need to rush off to this other thing. And I know that's something you talk about in the course, which I have been much more present with. I will sit down and eat when I have the time to sit down and eat. And if I don't eat my lunch at noon, I have a feeling that I'm going to be okay if my lunch doesn't come around until 3 o'clock. I don't think I'm going to starve to death. But to be present with that. And can you just share with that, like just that little exercise of being with the raspberry, what that does to the mind itself? How does that affect the mind?
So when you mindfully eat, and especially like our exercise with the raspberry, and yeah, I mean, I can remember a story that my father told me when I was a child, probably about 4 years old. He would give us M&Ms, and he would put a few in my hand and a few in my sister's hand. And I was the type of person that I would just, boom, throw the whole handful in my mouth. And then I would run past my sister because she would look at hers, and I'd grab them out of her hand and throw hers in my mouth. And then she would start crying. So I was not eating M&Ms very mindfully at the age of 4.
Yeah.
And I've gotten much better in my older years now. And so mindful eating really is about tasting your food. And so it's about looking at it. And again, the 5 senses, the sight, the smell, the taste, these things come into play when you eat. So it's important to sit down and really look at your food, enjoy it through your senses. And another thing that's important is that after the first few bites, our taste buds get tired. So I'd like you, when you eat, to sit down, have a few bites, and then notice, is the fourth and fifth and sixth bite, does it taste as good as the first few bites? And so if the answer is no, then perhaps you may not need to eat all the food in front of you, right? I like to say, fill yourself up to about 75%, and then wait 10 minutes and see, do I really need to eat the rest of the food on my plate? And again, that's about sensing when you've had enough, right? When you feel your stomach is full, connecting with the body. This is another huge part of mindful eating, is being able to connect with the body. Most of us live in our heads from the neck up. And I like to call that's like our control tower, like at the airport, that gives directions to everybody, but they're really not down on the ground with the plane. Right. So you're not really down in your body. You're up in your control tower that says, I have to eat, I have to finish my food, right? Because my mom told me if I didn't finish my food, there's poor kids starving in Africa, or whatever your parents said. Right? So it's important to feel into your body and learn to tune into when the satiety of your body, right? And sense, again, we go back to the innate intelligence of the body, and sense when you've eaten the right nutrients. If you can listen to the body, you can connect what you need to eat. Like, I don't know if you've ever had a craving and like, I really want a banana today. Well, perhaps your body is telling you, we need potassium. Get that banana on board. Or maybe I really feel like having a tangerine. Well, that's full of vitamin C. Maybe you're needing vitamin C. So it's important to listen, slow down, and listen to your body and choose your foods wisely. I call that inner and outer intelligence. So the inner intelligence is about listening to the body, while the outer intelligence is learning about the nutrients in food and what nutrients are in what foods. And when you feel like eating those foods, understanding what it is you need, because you want to eat to nourish and sustain your body, to have energy and vitality.
Absolutely. Wow. I love your program.
Oh,
Just that
you.
part of it understanding food on such, and again, I'm going to go back and say that because it's not just, this does not stay at the diet. This does not stay at your own personal diet or your own personal body image. It flows into every aspect of your life. It's such a well-rounded program that you have, Joanne. And as we start to bring this in for a landing, please tell the listeners, how do they get in touch with you? So I know that you offer a consultation, and so they can have more information about Ditch the Diet for Life, because we are out of time again. It's incredible. I don't know how this is happening, but we're out of time again. So how do they get in touch with you and learn more about your program?
They can go to my website. I have a really comprehensive website. It's Joanne, Joanne, King, King, counseling, COUNSELING.com, Joanne King Counseling. And there you can find information in regard to Ditch the Diet. You can find information on counseling and mindfulness. And I have, like I said, I have a free 20-minute consultation where I can talk with people to see what's happening with them and if I'd be a good fit to help them.
Yeah. Well, I know you personally, and I can say you are 100% authentic, non-judgmental. You come from the heart, you teach from the heart, and you truly have your client's best interest in your heart, and you show that. A person just cannot miss that. So I highly recommend you and your program. I find you beautiful, beautifully wonderful, and you are a treasure in my life, and I'm so grateful that I get to call you my friend. As well
Ditto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I feel the same way about you, Nada. I'm very respectful of what you do and who you are as a person.
Oh, Well, thank you very much, Joanne. I appreciate that. And listeners, please, if you did not catch Joanne's information, no worries. It will be in the show notes. And if you missed the first episode, please go back and listen to that. Joanne has wonderful words of wisdom in both of these episodes. And again, thank you so much, Joanne. It's my honor to have you, and I'm very grateful for you being here on the show with me today.
Oh, thank you. Aloha and a hui ho. See you soon, Nada.
Hui ho. And to the listeners, much love. Have a beautiful week, and we will be back next week with a brand new show. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Please go to nadahogan.com for show notes and other information you can use right away. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe to our show, and don't forget to rate and review right there on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get your shows. And don't forget to tell your friends about it. We'll see you next week.
Are fresh fruits and vegetables a part of your day? If not, we can help. We're New Jersey Snap Ed, and we offer budget-friendly ways to help you add nutritious fruits and vegetables to your meals and snacks. For healthy recipe ideas, visit njsnap-ed.gov today. That's njsnap-ed.gov.
And now, a thought from Geico Motorcycle.
It took 15 minutes to take a spirit animal quiz online.
Please be the cheetah. Please be the cheetah.
And learn your animal isn't the cheetah, but the far less appealing blobfish.
Oh, come on.
To add insult to injury, you could have used those 15 blobfish minutes to switch your motorcycle insurance to Geico.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.